And on to Summoner's Rift we go. Adam on the Mundo. Looks like they're going to try and catch out Mickey here. Vayne all-time 12-2 here for Rekkles, but Mickey is the focus. Flash in by Hylissang. Mickey has nowhere to go. One more auto attack from Upset will be enough. First blood for FNATIC.
Well, not the start that G2 was looking for, but Upset's quite happily going to take that one in a 2 versus 2 that already for the Tristana should be very comfortable. Now, one of the big things about this 2 versus 2 matchup in the bot lane is, of course, you know, the supports. Alistar not that great at getting prio in the early laning phase. Thresh can really assist, especially a champion like Vayne, in being able to control. We often see whenever Rekkles streams the Vayne that he likes the Hail of Blades, the ability to very quickly proc the Silver Bolt's passive, especially in lane, gives you a lot of power, and it's something that we're likely going to see leveraged a lot in the 2v2 very early on. But once Hylissang gets a couple levels, especially once Upset gets a couple levels, and given that he has an item advantage, wouldn't be surprised to see this FNATIC bot lane look to get aggressive against the G2 one.
I do really love seeing Rekkles on an AD carry that can just purely hyper carry like the Vayne, because he and Upset have always had this back and forth. Upset, when he joined the league, said, I'm Rekkles, just more handsome and less passive in lane. It's constantly been this argument of, can Upset actually ever rise to Rekkles' level? Because Rekkles is the best AD carry we've ever had in Europe. If you just look at his record, you look at what he's been able to achieve in this split, he continues to impress. However, Upset does challenge him, and right now, FNATIC are in a much better position than G2.
I also think that Upset needs to be in the conversation for MVP. He has been so solid for FNATIC this split and has been a consistent, reliable factor whenever it comes to FNATIC wins, but a lot of MVP performances. And how could we talk about that without talking about the two junglers for both sides, Jankos and Bwipo. Yesterday they had incredible performances. Jankos really popping off on his Lee Sin and Bwipo doing the same on his Viego. Both going for more of the farming style junglers where they're trying to get to 6 as quickly as possible, and you can see that they're doing a full clear from top through to bot. I'm curious as to how Bwipo is going to adapt his path, because you can see that he does not have prio in mid, he does not have prio in bot. So how will this battle for the Scuttle Crab result? A
big thing about yesterday's gameplay from both these junglers is how much time they spent around their teammates as well. You can see both of them above 50% jungle proximity. The average is around 44 to 45%. That shows how much time those junglers spend near their teammates between the 2 and the 15-minute mark. And it shows if these junglers can get towards their team, they can get ahead. Expectations are that both of them will want to farm just a little bit more in this game. You can already see Jankos going for this bot side Scuttle Crab. Bwipo is on the bottom side as well. And you wonder if Mickey will escort Jankos up here to look for the double scuttle, denying Bwipo one of those camps.
Well, I'm like, we know that Bwipo, where he was. G2 also know where Bwipo just was, because they dropped that ward and spawning him out on the Grom, which means that that gives Jankos plenty of time to be able to move up towards the top scuttle and get the double Scuttle Crab, which is great for these farming junglers. Jankos using his prio in mid and bot to be able to get this early advantage, and that means that Bwipo will be a little bit behind in the farm department. It looks like that he's going to path towards top, see if there is an option for him to secure that grab, but there will not be. So Jankos now likely looking to get a reset in, and in that window, Bwipo is then going to try and steal the respawn of the Gromp. He's going to drop this ward, Jankos is going to have that information, and it's mainly just a trade and battle of information coming back and forth right now between the two junglers.
And for the moment, FNATIC just keeping about 400 gold lead from that first blood, and from some CS in the bottom lane. Upset managing to farm relatively well. There's about 5 minions pushing in here, so Rekkles will be able to catch some back, but of course Vayne, not the longest range AD carry in the world, can struggle on wave clear early on. All of her damage is single target, and so Rekkles will just try and farm this one up underneath the tower.
Very true. So you can see that he is about a wave down, so he has fallen a little bit behind Upset, but it looks like that Rekkles did go for a very early reset, which is likely where Upset was able to gain that small advantage. Upset now going back to base, going to get himself the Noon Quiver. So this early game has stayed relatively even, outside, of course, the first blood, which Upset was able to get onto Mickey.
I think that's kind of the expectation. You talked about the junglers wanting to get to that level 6. Diana so much stronger when she has the Moonfall. Of course, Karthus Requiem. We've all seen the power lasers from the sky and how much damage they can do. And that's really what Bwipo will be looking for. Both the mid laners have been left a little bit on an island as well, and Caps has been able to get himself a sizable, about 3-wave CS lead here over Niski. He has had to burn his teleport to do so, though.
Yeah, I think Niski did a similar thing where he went for an early reset, got himself the Doran's Blade, and then came back to lane with the sustain. Now he's likely to use a TP. They could be looking for a play bot. Oh, nice interrupt there from Caps. Just going to buy a little bit more time. He does have the culling if he really wants to be super obnoxious. But I think Nisqy wants to base so that he can look for a TP play bot. They have one ward sitting in the tri-rush.
That's Cask. Adam doesn't really have anywhere to go, but the sadism, he leveled up from the minions that died as he was flying through the air. Adam gets the sadism just in time to survive. Upset has to burn the cleanse as the hook landed in the mid lane. Nisqy burnt his TP as well, just to farm up this wave. He's going to force Caps away, but the flawless duet can be dodged away from.
Lucky stuff there for Adam. Wunder knew that he had the level advantage, and with the HP that Adam had, he saw an opportunity to get a solo kill. But just as the ultimate comes through, Adam gets himself level 6 and is able to survive the encounter. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Upset forced to use the cleanse after a good hook comes out from Mickey. And once they saw the Diana, they knew that they were in some danger. But no blood will continue to be drawn. The kill score still remains with FNATIC slightly favored. Bwipo knows that this Gromp is here. Remember, Jankos didn't do it earlier, but now the junglers will meet.
Adam's on his way as well, has the flash. Remember, Wunder doesn't have ultimate. Bwipo and Jankos trading in. Smite goes down, Jankos gets it. Wunder trying to trade onto Bwipo. Adam flashes across the wall, and Jankos will be killed off. Bwipo will fall as well. He flashes. Caps has a flash to follow up. Wunder takes a Dark Harvest. Caps goes in. Caps now needs to get away from Adam, but Adam can just chase him down. Another briefcase connects around the minions. Adam bending the bullets. 2 kills to Mundo.
Great punish here from FNATIC and great awareness. They knew that Jankos had not cleared that Gromp from the red ward that was dropped so much earlier in the game. And then once Jankos came back to it, he wasn't expecting the FNATIC top jungle to be there. They end up collapsing on them. They get the damage out because Jankos was forced to flash and Adam could chase him. And that meant that they were able to get that kill. Jankos now respawned. Adam knows that he's here. He's just going to act as spoiler. Of course, with the smite still up, very likely that it's not going to result in anything. We're going to have a quick look back at this. So, Jankos puts himself in a very awkward position. Bwipo is just standing here dealing a bunch of damage. Adam, it's like he's locked on with these briefcases, landing every single hit. Jankos knows that he can't commit to the fight, but then the moment that the flash comes through, Wunder's like, okay, I've got to trade kills. At this point, he decides to try and give the kill over to Caps, and Bwipo uses that window. Really good Q onto Wunder means that he can't rejoin the fight. Caps has to flash over as well, which costs him his life as well. Another good briefcase landed by Adam to secure themselves another kill. So now FNATIC put themselves in a 1k gold advantage.
See G2 trying to isolate Adam by himself. Bwipo has the Requiem now. Adam, no flash, has already used the sadism. Hylissang behind the wall here, gonna get condemned into the wall, but Mickey and Reckless don't want to go in because they don't know where the jungler is. Adam, though, dived on by Jankos, and Adam will be shut down. Caps gets the kill.
Okay, so a lot of the action happening as a result of the junglers, somewhat as we expected. FNATIC very aggressive in the early game, often looking for skirmishes and fights, but when we see them playing this Karthus, they're a little bit more reserved. They're quite happy to allow Bwipo to scale up and then use their often lane-dominant individuals to combine with the Karthus ultimate. You can see that Bwipo already has a level advantage. Knowing where Jankos was, he started on the bot side, Jankos up towards the top. Reckless and Mickey playing very defensive, knowing that they don't really have that much support from the rest of the team, and Reckless is actually going to take the red buff because they know the risk of this being stolen, given that Jankos is securing the Herald right now.
I love the fact that we talked about getting to level 6, starting to see plays, and immediately when both these teams get there, they know where their power is. They try and play around it. Bwipo only with 2 assists, but Adam with 2 kills in his back pocket is having a stormer of a time against Wunder. I saw a tweet from him earlier, was in French, so I apologize if I butchered the translation, but he was talking about how it's about proving that he can play against G2 on the stage. He's very hyped for today and that he wanted to show that he isn't just a good player, but he's a player that can really challenge G2 on the LEC stage. At the moment, he's definitely doing that. 2-1-1 on this Mundo.
I mean, we talked about it, right? Different names, but the orgs are still the same. Whenever you watch FNATIC and G2 play, regardless of the rosters, it's always going to be an exciting one, that's for sure. And Adam has fit very well into this FNATIC roster. I like your statement that his willingness to die, that the player is full of confidence right now. A big conversation for Rookie of the Split for Adam. And yeah, a lot of question marks around his addition to the roster, but I think that he's proven his value time and time again, especially with some of his unique picks like the Olaf as well.
Hylissang trying to prove his value in the mid lane here, but Wunder already on his way down. Hylissang's going to headbutt away to a minion and will manage to escape. Okay, 10 minutes in, Betty. So a quick look at where we are in terms of state of the game. 500 gold between the two teams. A dragon in FNATIC's back pocket, but the Rift Herald has already been picked up by Jankos.
And I'm curious as to where he chooses to use that. Right now, 2 plates have been dropped topside, but you don't really want to funnel that gold into Wonder. One option that G2 could have is swapping their bot lane up towards top, and then the cross-map play could happen from the side of FNATIC, where they trade bot tower in exchange for the top one. Alternatively, Jankos could look to path towards bot, and then try and drop this Herald there to invest more money into the Vayne. I think that one strong play they could do is unlock the Lucian, though. Get him opened up on the map a little bit more, get Caps roaming around, and try and funnel more resources into the mid laner, who's already quite strong, and build this advantage over the Irelia so that she doesn't have the same threat in a side lane as she often can have.
For the moment, Bubba's just trying to...
The chase is coming, Adam on his way.
Adam is on his way, doesn't have the flash, but Niski does. The Vanguard's edge coming out, there's a Moonfall as well. Hylissang joins the fray, but Jankos able to get away with the Lantern, and Caps somehow still alive. Here's the Requiem. Is it going to be enough? It's cancelled. Wonder comes in with a cask from the gods to stop Whippo bringing down the lasers.
So much just happened in that sequence of events. And I don't want to break it down now. I want the replay because like there were so many individual things that resulted in nothing really happening. But such great awareness from both teams. No major gold gains are going to be swung either side. Caps is going to be forced to reset. Jankos now in some serious trouble. But he's not going to get collapsed on.
He's going to do the collapsing. Because Caps has just TP'd in. Mickey's on his way. Reckless has the Lantern as well. Caps. Gale Force available, Culling available, Meniski there to block it, Hylissang flashes away! How is everyone getting out on such low HP? Whipper with the flash as well! And now you have to think that calls for a Rift Herald here from Jankos. They'll clear out the wave, and there goes the Rift Herald.
I very much agree with you, Medic. This is the play, because now they've delayed FNATIC's backs by so much. Caps could very well get the entire turret right now. He wants to make sure that he gets hit, but the TP is going to come through, so that's going to mitigate any real push. That likely will be another plate for both jungle and mid for G2. Oh my word. Let's have a look back at this initial play. So Jankos, a little overstepped here, but he does have the support from the Lucian. He didn't expect this slow to be able to connect. And watch here. So the thing to pay attention to is Niski. He knows that he can flash ult, and look at how the Alistair is being kept at bay by Mickey. They're just trying to zone each other off. Then the Lantern comes through to take Jankos just barely to safety. Then the initial engage from Hylissang, taking up this damage. Then this guy gets very low. G2 think they can go for the re-engage, and then Wonder ease over the wall into ultimates to interrupt the play. Just so many individually great stuff from both sides. The flash ult from Niski, that should have been a kill if it weren't for Mickey's positioning there. Hylissang delaying the collapse from the rest of G2. Great stuff early on in the game. Low kills, but you can see still a lot of action, and we're only 13 minutes in.
I mean, you always promised an incredible game when you see G2 and FNATIC. Upset was waiting here. Hylissang still has the unbreakable will. Mickey and Reckless will just chunk him out. Just your guaranteed action. Let's have a look at where we are in terms of relative gold. 1,000 gold difference between Upset and Reckless. That's plates in the bottom lane and the kill, of course. In the mid lane, though, 700 gold in favor of Caps as well. He already has that Gale Force complete. He is a level down on Niskin, a level usually about 600 gold worth of stats overall.
We're reaching first items for both sides. I'm really curious as to what Reckless will go for. Usually he does take the Kraken Slayer for like maximum damage, but I have seen many Vaynes take things like the shield bow in the event of the fear that you're going to get dived. You know, if you want a little bit more survivability, and she really does take a lot of value from the lifesteal as well.
I'm also thinking Requiem is just so powerful in that sort of situation. A shield bow can give you that bit of extra protection. X-Drinker not as strong as it used to be. Caps Gale forcing in, looking for Whipper. Whipper has no mana, but somehow once again he's out alive. Jankos look for him. There's Wonder with the cask. They'll take one, and now G2 really want this fight. Requiem coming out. That's Whipper beyond the grave, and there's a pause. I think it's a FNATIC pause. I see the referees talking to them, but what a moment to pause the game.
Oh my words. The aggression coming out from G2 there, the collapse. I believe they were fighting over the blue buff as well, but the immediate TP from Wonder, you can see that both teams are just on form for this matchup. But this could be a huge team fight depending on what the cause of the pause was.
Oh goodness.
Oh my words. Yeah.
So like usually, when we talk to players, it's like, you can pause, but try not to do it right in the middle of a team fight.
No, I mean, because
if something has happened, obviously it's something urgent that has happened in the middle of this fight.
Because it could be a situation where Niski like couldn't move.
Yeah, that's my point, right? Otherwise, usually we'll say, you know, pause when action isn't happening if you need it, but this is obviously something that is urgent for Hylissang, it looks like, as FNATIC have paused the game. But like, you can just see how on top of their game, these guys are, right? Like, we've seen a few missteps, we've seen a few blunders, but most of the time it's been outplay after outplay rather than misplay after misplay here between FNATIC and G2.
Yeah, it certainly has. Just, I really loved what both junglers were doing in the early game, the way in which Jankos uses Proud to be able to get the early double scuttle, then Bwipo, knowing that Jankos needed to reset, drop the ward onto the Gromp, then both him and Adam contested that Gromp, which is where they got those initial 2 kills from, and then the way in which G2 made sure that they were able to then cross-map back. They immediately went back to top lane. Adam had no flash, so they looked to try and punish it, converted that into a Rift Herald, which then after finding a crazy fight in mid, converted into the mid tier 1. The goal has stayed so even because while all this topside action has happened, Upset has just been using the range advantage and the matchup advantage to build CS leads and gold leads over Reckless. He's sitting with a a little less than that now, mainly because Reckless literally just got a kill.
Yeah.
But assuming that we go back a little bit, Upset had such a huge plate advantage over Reckless that he was just getting more and more gold. So, like, advantages were trading across the board. The game was staying very even, and it really was about when were we going to see that fight that broke open the game? When were we going to get that moment that really swung the game in a certain direction? And this very well could have been that moment.
So, do you think that if the game swings here, the compositions are such that one team should just be able to take control of it? Say either team gets like an ace, or either team gets 4 or 5 kills out of this. Do they then just have a total hold on the game, or do you see those avenues back for their opposition? It's a hard question.
Well, I think it's because the comps are quite comparable, in my opinion. So, like, when I look at FNATIC's comp, they have a very solid front line in the form of Adam and Hylissang with Alistair and Dr. Mundo. You then put a Tristana on top of that. Tristana's long range, especially in the late game. What is really threatening the Tristana? Or what, a Diana, maybe? And then maybe if a Gragas can flash on top. The Tristana has like a good front line.
And can buffer her jump to escape.
Right, and then there's a Karthus on top of that.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, there's an Aurelia there who's mainly going to be the person that you have to focus at the beginning of the fight because she's going to be diving in. So, like, on paper, you kind of look at it and you sit there and go, okay, well, sure, I can see that from FNATIC. But the moment you put a Vayne into the equation and then you add a Lucian on top of that, well, no longer is this about diving the back line, it's a front-to-back comp. Now, what your goal is to just basically kill whatever comes towards you. And if they don't come towards you, you have a lot of tools to actually force picks yourself. The Thresh and the Gragas are both excellent at creating disruption, chaos within a team fight, because a hook lands, Mickey goes in, his ult comes down, and immediately FNATIC could be split up. A Gragas ultimate, immediately FNATIC could be split up. And then you just focus the target that is straight in front of you, and then you get that initial kill. So that's why I think, like, yeah.
It's almost like dominoes cascading effect for G2 if they can find those single picks at the start.
And so what I would say is, like, initially on paper, it kind of looks like FNATIC maybe have a slight scaling advantage, but I don't think it's as straightforward as that. And I think that mainly because of the addition of this Vayne, there's also a Diana, the double AD carry. Like, I think that G2 have very good scaling and they have a lot of tools to combat what FNATIC have, which is why I think a lot of this will come down to execution and why this game is so exciting.
It's never simple when it's FNATIC or G2 playing. FNATIC, Hylissang, though, has reported a potential bug. League officials are currently investigating it. Now, as we wait for updates, we're going to send it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you. Updates, Medic, thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have a pause here in this game. It is always unfortunate when it happens, but we do want to confirm that everything can go and continue as well as possible for this game. So let's talk about it. Let's get the draft up on the screen. Laura, what jumped out to you about the draft that we saw of both teams?
I mean, it looks like FNATIC did their research. First, taking Tristana, taking Mondo, but also we've been looking at Reckless's solo queue tracking. He's been playing Vayne for 30 games straight, so I feel like FNATIC knew it, and they gave him the Vayne even though they knew he would play it.
Do you feel like they obviously banned out the marksman so he would play it, and do you think that their comp adequately is fit to fight against a Vayne, or to keep Vayne from fighting against them, I should say?
I think there's still an issue because they play Mondo, and we know how Vayne is good against Mondo. And Velios said also earlier that they have Thresh, they have Gragas, which is perfect to split FNATIC's team fight potential. So we'll see how it happens.
I think kind of the one thing that they did that made it very clear that they were very prepared for this pick is they opted to bring the Karthus in here, and they swapped the Mundo back into topside. There was kind of some speculation that it could be going jungle to the hands of Bwipo, but by putting it topside against double AP and Diana and Gragas, you've made the itemization path very, very easy for Adam on top side, and he's been having a successful game so far, but ultimately it's the Karthus that really stands out to me as a tool to shut down a lot of the very squishy champions on the side of G2 Esports. If you go late enough, Karthus kind of just outscales every champion in the game, but more importantly, past just the Requiem, which everyone is going to look at, the Wall of Pain is a huge, huge tool in these fights, because if Lucian goes through it, if Vayne goes through it, it becomes nigh impossible for them to play against a Mundo, to play against Aurelia. Yes, if they're given the space to work, they can absolutely demolish both these champions, but when your resistances are taken down and you're slowed by such a huge amount, it's very hard for them to play these fights out.
It's so obnoxious to play against if it gets rolling, of course. I want to talk also a bit about the mid lane specifically. Caps versus Nisqy is a huge matchup. I also think that Nisqy is someone who's been performing phenomenally, but I think a lot of the attention has gone towards Bwipo because he has been adjusting to the jungle role. Laure, what can you tell me about Nisqy and how he's feeling about his performance so far? And what do you think about him pulling out the Aurelia in such an important match?
I'm so happy to see how Nisqy evolved, especially in summer, because historically he's been known to be this control mage player. He plays a lot of Zoe, has a good Syndra also, and I feel like he reinvented himself in summer here with the Aurelia pick, as we see now, all these meta champions that we haven't been used to seeing him on. And I feel like Nisqy right now is a very complete player. And as you said, Bwipo doesn't give him so much attention compared to the bot lane maybe, but he came from being a supportive mid laner to being this very complete mid laner who can play pretty much everything and also carry for his team.
And I just feel like there's so many stories on FNATIC that Nisqy is often kind of the unsung hero, because people want to look at Bwipo, people want to look at Adam, because the offseason, because the roster change was so controversial. We've talked about it. We'll probably talk about it again, but Nisqy has been kind of the silent but very, very reliable player on the side of FNATIC, where he's been having very, very good performances. But again, you get distracted by the shining light of the fifth, Viego game coming out for Bwipo, because that is the kind of the hot button story. That's the thing that people are really psyched for. And in the meantime, Nisqy has been racking up wins. His numbers have been getting better and better, and he's honestly just in general looked fantastic this split. And if this was week 3 Caps, I would say no problem. But Caps has been getting better and better, and you can see while this matchup is obviously going to favor Lucian just due to the range advantage he has, Caps is clearly very comfortable in this matchup, is not letting Nisqy hit him with the stuns, is not letting any ultimate connects either, and he's been able to kind of sail through this early game very easily.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay package up because we've got all kills that happen, so that can help us tell the story of the game so far. A very early first blood by FNATIC, who is waiting for Mickey to come down the river and just take his life, which of course means a lot. But how much does it mean exactly for the lane, Dracos?
I think overall the big thing here is going to be mostly it's hard for me to remember the exact timestamp. If you're close enough to the laning phase, which I believe that they were, it is going to be push advantage immediately for Tristana. Naturally, she should get this anyway in just the AD carry matchup, but having the range advantage on the Thresh normally would mean that G2 can contest that. No longer the case. But we look here on the top side, and this is Adam making good on the Mundo pick.
I mean, that's just classic Adam here, playing aggressive. And I never saw him on this champion, actually. I thought he would play more of a carry, maybe. But yeah, just bringing in the suitcases.
I mean, that was a big point of contention. Also, which kind of matchup are we going to see in the top lane? Yesterday, Wonder coming out with the Sejuani. This time we see the AP Gragas coming out, or the Gragas coming out, rather. And then, the Mundo, it's not necessarily an Adam pick, but we know that it can be incredibly strong.
Yeah, and actually Wonder has been so successful on the champion. I think it's mostly about not giving in to Wonder.
Yeah, and I think we've just seen that the champion's been incredibly powerful. I like it overall. We heard the boss at the start of the day say that he really wanted to see one of these more bruisery matchups, and while Adam is not in that bruisery matchup, he's showing us that champion pool is expanding. That was one of the big questions when he entered the league. We knew his Olaf was good, we knew his Darius was good, we knew his Renekton was good. What else was he going to add to the toolkit? Mundo being there is a very big deal when it's, quite frankly, just probably a little too strong in the current meta.
Yeah, but it fits with the way FNATIC wants to play. I mean, talking to Bwipo yesterday, he admitted that he doesn't give so much attention to Adam because he focuses on the bot side of the map especially, and I like that Adam has been able to adapt accordingly and play this more layback play style, I want to say, even though he commits sometimes a bit too much into plays. But yeah, this is just a champion that fits his play style and the way FNATIC wants to play around him.
We're still waiting for an update in terms of what's happening in terms of the game. And of course, we apologize that we're not pure blood analysts or color casters here. So I want to dive a bit deeper into the stories of the teams as we fill this time. And I don't think it's weird that we've not talked a lot about G2. I think coming into today, we had a Bwipo segment in Ready Check. We had the Euphoria check-in with Upset, but I think it speaks to kind of how FNATIC has been on a roll. But we can never discredit G2 or forget G2. I want to ask in the same vein, really no pun intended, it just came out that way. We talk about the scaling for the side of FNATIC, but there is always that thought of the X factor for Reckless if he does get a couple of kills and if he gets going. How much trust do we have that he can bring this game into a victory for G2?
Well, I think it is a big question. I think 30 solo queue games is not enough to answer, can you beat FNATIC?
Probably like 7,000 games.
Yeah, it's actually 75, exactly.
Yeah.
I just pick a number. I think the big thing here for me that I really like about this game, regardless of the result, is that Reckless is kind of putting his money where his mouth is when it comes to playing new champions. There was a lot of questions, hey, comfort picks, things like the Jhin, kind of when the pressure was on, falling back to these picks. But in a big game like FNATIC G2, and in the game yesterday as well, he bust out Close for the first time in 4 years. Today, he's busting out the Vayne. And I think that the commitment to playing new picks, even in high-stakes games, is exactly what G2 fans should be looking to see from Reckless to show that, like, hey, this team is progressing. It's not just a bald Caps meme and 2 good games on stage. They are, like, really committed to making the most out of this.
Yeah, and even when G2 looked, I don't want to say bad, but not at their best a couple of weeks back, it was always Reckless, and especially in these high-stake games, who was showing up for the team.
Absolutely, and to me, it's also, this is a big indicator of where these two teams are at versus each other, because the expectation is that they are going to make it both to playoffs and that we will see them fighting in those best of fives. And I don't know how it is for others, but with FNATIC, I always have this question mark of how long is it going to last? Because I feel inherently, the way they like to play the game seems risky, right? But if it works, it is so beautiful to watch.
It's often been this high-risk, high-reward style for FNATIC, and that's also something I brought up with Bwipo yesterday. Poorly worded, I know, but I feel like this may become maybe the strongest iteration of FNATIC. I mean, when I see them play, especially with a rookie player that they just brought in, and how they click, I don't know, I'm just looking forward to seeing this team in playoffs and in best of 5
Keep
series.
forgetting Adam as a rookie, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think that over the years of FNATIC, we've had, we've always had a very successful FNATIC for the most part. There's been 1 or 2 splits that are tough. 2016, of course, this spring split as well. But FNATIC has always been a team that's been, while successful, it's been a team very much just like they get the wins and that's pretty much it. And every time it's some Worlds drama or some player drama or some roster drama. And I don't want to hold that against them. It's hard playing top-level competitive League of Legends. But to me, this feels like the first time that we have 5 FNATIC players where, the band of brothers narrative. We've used it for Splice. We used it for G2 Esports 2019. And now I think it fits for FNATIC too, in the sense that when you see these players, when you see them interacting, as we now get to do in the studio, all of these guys are getting along. All of them are on the same page. And it's just a pleasure to watch.
Yeah, and that's when G2 beat him and get back on that horse,
and then
right?
they hate each other. Drama.
I do have an update as well. At 14 minutes, 13 seconds into the game, FNATIC paused the game to report 2 separate potential bugs to League officials. After investigation, the League officials have determined that all interactions were working as intended and reviewed the footage with FNATIC to confirm. We will resume the game as it was at the time of the pause. And with that, let's get back over to our casters.
Thank you very much, Shox. Great stuff, all of you. We'll drop in quite hot here. 14.5 minutes into the game or thereabouts. FNATIC and G2 are fighting in the bot side jungle around FNATIC's blue buff. Now, Bwipo died out early. Niski has just died as well. I believe
the Requiem is falling.
Yep.
Adam is in the middle of 4 G2 members. Upset and Hylissang are sitting in the tri-brush right next to the bottom tower. So we are still in the middle of a fight. So the moment we come back in, which is going to be soon, Medic's going to pick a straight up.
Here we go. Straight back on into the action. Let's get on into this game of League of Legends as we jump right on in. G2 versus FNATIC. Always a fight for the ages. Hylissang on the front line here with the Unbreakable Will. He's going to get locked up. Wonder knocked back though. Wonder's ticking. The Ignite will get him down. And Upset gets a reset from that. Now, G2 actually start up the Dragon straight away. Upset, is he gonna go in? Lots of wards here. Mickey misses the hook. Adam's still very healthy. Upset dives forward. Mickey next on the menu. The explosive charge is gonna tick him down. And now Upset diving in. Jankos manages to get across the wall.
Hylissang knocks him over the wall.
Okay.
But FNATIC end up trading even in kills. They're 2 for 2. They lose the Drake. And I thought that fight was gonna go much worse for them. So let's look back at this. Thank you very much, observers. Caps dives in straight into the face of Bwipo and Niski. Immediately has to flash out. Takes the Lantern to safety, but now you can see FNATIC is split. When Wonder TP's in, he uses the ult, flash E combo off the back of the Condemn, and you can see here the Hex Flash is going to be interrupted as a result of the Everfrost that
stops the channel of the Hex Flash.
Stops the channel of the Hex Flash. Now, the rest of G2 decide to overcommit here, and this is where the follow-up CC comes through from Hylissang. Good ultimate there from Upset, combined with the Ignite, gets them the kill. And then it's a bit of an overstep here from Mickey. He's trying to zone Adam away, look for a potential hook. He does have vision, but then Upset Upset goes straight in. Nice sidestep of the damage. Flashes, gets the initial kill, looking for a potential reset, and then the knockout comes through. Hook once again.
X-Flash hook, Jankos jumping forward, double buffs on Hillisang, but here comes Bwipo, here comes Upset. Hillisang down, Jankos gets it, there's the land to try and get him out. Caps now diving forward onto Bwipo as well, and Bwipo doesn't have the mana. His buffs were stolen, his life was stolen. It's a double for Jankos.
Exactly that, Medic. G2, after losing a fight, immediately back out onto the map, and they decide violence is the answer. 65 is now the kill score for both sides. Only 400 gold separates the two teams, 16 minutes in, and we are right back into the thick of things.
Okay, a couple of things. We're going to do a recap of where we are totally in a second here, Vedius, but I do want to celebrate something. Look in the top lane. His name is Wonder. He is wonderful, often playing WoW, sometimes playing League of Legends, but he has just achieved his 1000th ever LEC career kill. Congratulations, Wonder!
Congratulations to Wonder. He has been 1 kill off. Well, actually, he's been 4 kills off for like quite a while, but he just doesn't get kills. But that was, in fact, his 1000th kill of LEC career. So impressive stuff from Wonder. He will take a turret in the top sides, and he will get G2 now a 1k gold lead.
Yeah, so let's talk about where we are in terms of the game. 17 minutes in or thereabouts, G2 have that 1000 gold lead. Adam's going to answer with some gold in this tower in the bottom lane. Items across the board have been picked up. You can see Jankos and Wonder working together here to try and catch up Bwipo, who is not having a good game. Upset diving onto Reckless, though, and Reckless can just condemn him away. You can see the top side of the map for G2 is having a barnstormer of a game. 2-1-3, 2-1-3, 2-1-3. All three of those potential fakers that Upset talked about on Euphoria are really performing well.
The thing about Karthus is the moment you fall behind, it becomes very hard to get back into the game. Oh, they know Niski's in there.
And Niski knows he should have retreated. Heals up a little bit, but Reckless will take the kill. G2 playing a 4-man stack on the top side while Caps is by himself on the bottom.
G2 are relentless with their regression, and so much credit needs to go to Jankos and Wonder. They are continuing to be proactive on the map. The second Jankos got a slight lead in this jungle matchup, he has not slowed down with it, constantly looking for plays, looking for picks. And Caps forced to catch the bot wave, but he was able to disengage. So FNATIC losing a little bit of control. Bwipo being put very far behind, and Niski on this Aurelia. We talked about it in draft in this 1v1 matchup. Whoever gets ahead is has a big swing in terms of control over the side lane, and for the time being, Caps is going to be so much further ahead. Bwipo needs to be careful, no flash, or maybe it's Jankos that needs to be careful.
The Lantern is such a get-out-of-jail-free card, though. We have seen Thresh banned every single game, and then you let it through, and this is what it can do. It doesn't matter if you catch someone out, if they can just click that Lantern to escape. FNATIC, though, still trying to make plays. They've controlled this bottom side jungle. Caps hasn't got the flash, doesn't have the Gale Force either, and Upset knows it. Upset goes in, gets the shutdown. That was a pure 1v1.
Upset really putting FNATIC on his back right now. He was able to get that first blood in lane, and now he's continuing to find pick after pick after pick. His aggression is just... it's just so evident. You can see that he is not afraid of G2, as Niski now going for the 1v1.
Yeah, Wonder doesn't have the body slam. Oh, it's not a 1v1 for long, my friend. Reckless and Mickey were behind enemy lines. Niski now spots the fact that Jankos is waiting for him as well. The Rocket Belt will get Jankos in range for the Moonfall, and there is the hook. Niski tries to dodge away with the Blade Surge, but Jankos is on the chase. A killing spree for the Diana. Meanwhile, though, FNATIC are playing the other side of the map, and even though it seems like G2, you know, they're picking up these kills, they're picking up the pace, FNATIC are still well within touching distance of gold, and this is going to be another 600 gold fed into Upset. He's going to be at 9,000 gold when no one on G2 has even crested the 8,000 mark.
Yes, while G2 do have advantages over many of their lane counterparts, you know, Jankos getting a little bit ahead of Bwipo, Caps getting ahead of Niski. Upset has just been farming away. Plates in the early game, towers in the mid game, and finding every, or most of the kills for FNATIC. It really will be Upset versus the world as this game progresses. Remember that Bwipo will continue to scale. All Upset really needs is a front line to play around, and then there's a very realistic world where he can win the game for FNATIC. Right now, though, control in the top side continues to swing in G2's favor. I think it's fair to say that right now, it's just a battle of the cross map. Whatever G2 takes in top, FNATIC is taking in bot. And it's just a matter of side laners doing what they can to try and catch what farm they can. Hillisang looking to collapse onto Wonder, Lantern there just for safety.
I I mean, it does give away the fact that Wonder's in that bush as well, so if FNATIC had been a little bit quicker to pull the trigger, after that lantern disappeared. Perhaps they could have found something. However, what do we have on the menu? Well, Baron's on the cards. Both teams will do it pretty quickly. Of course, Akarthus can burn through it very rapidly, as can a Vayne. Double AD carry on the side of G2 will manage to burn it down. Bwipo chasing Jankos out of the jungle. Hylissang flashing away from it. There's 1,700 gold between the two teams. And right now, a lot of that you have to look at lying on the top side of the map for G2. There's 1,400 gold lead for Caps in the mid lane, 1,100 for Jankos in the jungle.
So we have a little bit of time now, because both these teams are, setting up. The next objective isn't going to be spawning for a while. A lot of the outer towers have been gone. So let's talk a little bit about the historic record between these two teams, because every time they match up, we have to bring up the rivalry that does exist and why this is such an exciting matchup. 8 LEC titles for G2, 7 for FNATIC. Only recently did G2 thwart FNATIC in the number of titles that they actually had. The head-to-head, you can see, is quite clearly in the favor of G2, and a lot of that is in the recent history too. Since 2020, G2 lead with 13 wins to 5 losses.
It's been a while since FNATIC really had the upper hand in this, and perhaps people were thinking this season might have been the time. Even Reckless was saying he thinks FNATIC are probably the best team in the LEC at the moment. And you can see, even though G2 have had their foot on the accelerator, even though they've been trying to up the tempo of the game, FNATIC has still been finding things on the other side of the map. The question is, can this new FNATIC lineup, with Bwipo in the jungle, with Adam in the top lane, with Upset as their AD carry, continue to develop and really challenge as the rest of the season goes on?
Good damage coming out from Reckless. Hook goes a little wide there from Mickey. Could have been a big pick, but doesn't end up finding anything. And again, I think a lot of it comes off of Reckless's replacement, Upset. This man is having a fantastic game. I think he's overall had a fantastic split. Last split, he was the most aggressive alongside Hylissang, and while they don't have as many 2v2 kills, that aggression hasn't really changed. He jumps in.
Yeah, Wonder doesn't really have anywhere to go here. Tries to flash away, but Hylissang's on the chase. They lock him up. Wonder will fall, and once again, it's Upset who gets the kill and gets the bounty. 150 extra gold from that kill for him. Are FNATIC going to look for more here? Mickey and Reckless waiting round the corner.
Good stun came out from Niski to set up for the dive. We're going to have another very quick pause. We will inform you when we have a little bit more information as to what is going on. But we've had a very exciting game. 9-7 is the kill score. The gold is only 1.6k apart. And it has been a very bloody back and forth between the two teams. Very exciting stuff to watch. The towers are even now after FNATIC secured that top one. 4-4 are the towers across the board. And overall, things are looking very, very close. Next Drake should be spawning relatively soon, in about 2 minutes' time. FNATIC right now leading Drakes. And yeah, it's as we said, very close game between the two teams.
It's Bwipo who's paused. We'll work out exactly what's happened as soon as we can. There's this strange tension with pauses in games like this, because the game is incredibly tense as it is, right? And then you get this pause and you kind of take a quick sigh of relief, but you're also frustrated because you just wanted the game to keep going. And it's kind of like you're standing at the edge of a precipice, at the corner of this like gaping abyss of brilliant League of Legends in front of you. You're like, please let me jump into it. Please let me take a dive. For now, we have to wait. We have to be on the edges of our seats once again as we wait for the game to resume. Both teams playing very specific styles of League of Legends. You can see how much FNATIC are investing into Upset.
Yes, and it's important to note the Reckless isn't that dramatically behind, because Reckless right now is one of the highest earning players in the game. He has 9,000 gold. He's a little bit behind Caps and Wonder, but they also have a lot more assists than he does. But he's also at 234 CS. He is maintaining the average. He's very far ahead. The problem is Upset's just gotten more gold. So it's not that Reckless is like behind. It's just the Upset is really far ahead. And I'm just going to have a quick look at the gold. He doesn't quite have enough for Infinity Edge. He's sitting on 1,200 right now. He already has the BF. He's going to get the pickaxe, and then very soon he's going to convert that into Infinity Edge. And when he has that, that is when you sit there as FNATIC and be like, all right, let's go. We're ready to fight. Our AD carry has 3 items. He's got the Infinity Edge. He's primed and ready to like dish out the damage. But Jankos, a player that, has... Well, I think overall had a very solid split.
Sure.
He's been very reliable. There have been a couple moments. I remember one time on a Diana, he flashed into a wall. Happens to the best of us. You know what I mean? But overall, I think that Jankos has had a very solid split. And he, in this game, is really strong. He has rushed the Morello to try and mitigate some of the life regeneration that they do have on things like the Mundo specifically, I think. But he also has the Rocket Belt completed, and he also has the 10 stacks on his Dark Seal. He is so strong. Level 13 on the Diana. He is someone that you really have to respect in these fights, especially with how well he has been playing. But fortunately, you won't have to listen to me talk much longer because we're getting right back into the game.
Let's jump on back into the action. Oh, hook immediately on Bwipo. He's going to pop the stopwatch. G2 looking to retreat away from this one. Stopwatch used as well by Jankos as Niski dives underneath the tower. Jankos has already used the moonfall here and he can't get away. Upset with another bounty, another shutdown. Bwipo has fallen, I believe, as Adam TP's into this fight. G2 at a numbers disadvantage. The culling from Caps finds its mark. 2 for 2 so far on the trade. Reckless and Mickey looking for a flank position here. Mickey's going to eat an infected Cleaver.
Wonder
Chase
TP.
is still on. Wonder has the TP. As you say, Reckless gets the Scuttle Crab, condemn into the wall. Mickey low, though upset. Could be his third kill of this fight. Mickey's still alive. Wonder and Reckless trying to do what they can. Upset's in the pit by himself. Niski hits the flawless duet, and there goes Reckless. Now Niski gets a double, and just like that, it's turned on his head once again. FNATIC get 2. Upset looking for more of his Wonder TP'd in, perhaps to his death. Caps getting chased away by Adam in a pure 1v1. The Cleaver! Adam! Surgical precision from the doctor in the house! FNATIC clean up the fight and they're going for the Baron.
And FNATIC will look to reclaim control over this game. It looked like a big fight for G2, but they were able to turn it around after some beautiful execution coming out from Niski. Now Jankos near the pit. Can he get the steal? No flash.
No, either Jankos now has his ultimate. You're going for this, mate. You got to go in now. You got the smite. Equal smites, but Hillasang once again a great distraction. Forces Jankos away, and now Jankos is dead. There's nothing you can do in this situation. Adam will take the kill. FNATIC now 2,000 gold ahead, and it flicked like a switch.
So, at the beginning of the pause, this was the situation that we found ourselves in. Now, FNATIC had the right set on trying to get a pick onto Jankos. So, Niski flashes over the wall and follows up with Upset immediately into finding a kill. Meanwhile, Bwipo wasn't expecting these two members of G2 to be sitting in this brush, so Reckless gets himself a kill. So it ends up being a trade of junglers on both sides. TP then comes in from Caps as the ultimate comes through, gets heavily mitigated by the Aegis from Mickey. Then with the TP from Adam, late TP coming out from Wonder, but it doesn't matter because they realize that they get that initial kill. The members are now even on both sides, and at this point we're thinking, okay, well, where's the TP from Wonder? But Caps actually goes back to top lane. They are in a 2 versus 3 here. Reckless doing what he can to keep Mickey alive, and it's looking pretty promising, but then the slow connects onto Reckless, and it doesn't matter. We don't have time because we're back into the action.
Onto Caps, there's the lantern there for him, but Caps has been knocked away from it, and there's a ward on top of it, but here comes Jankos, the shutdown onto Upset, that's all your gold. Niski has to do so much in this fight, but Bwipo's already dead. Niski trying to dive onto Reckless, but he's been knocked back as well. The flawless duet does not quite connect. The lantern gets them out. Bwipo still gets a double. The hook coming out as well in a 3v3 now. Adam tanking up the tower for days.
Adam does not care. Another fight kicks off. FNATIC didn't even have a wave. I don't even understand how they got there because the last fight was just so long. I think that G2, we're immediately going to get a replay as to exactly what happened. So they did have a pushing wave. Hillasang controlling a little bit of vision. Caps is trying to get a bit of poke damage, and then he thinks because he has the lantern, he's in safe quarters. But then the knock-up comes through, the knock back into the control ward. Caps, there's no way for him to get the last hit. Then look at this engage from Wonder. The damage and the ultimate from Jankos as well locks them up as Reckless is just free-firing on the back line. But then with a TP from Niski, Reckless realizes he can no longer commit to the fight. So Wonder now has to disengage. He then loses his life, ends up being a 2 for 2, and now, quick, observers, get us back into the fight.
Oh, Bwipo looking very happy with his performance so far, as he should be. 1,500 gold between these two teams. You can see Bwipo died relatively early on in that fight, but a Requiem, a Wall of Pain, a few little Skittles on the ground can do a lot of work. FNATIC with this Baron buff haven't broken an inhibitor line yet, though they are very strong right now. Upset 3 items complete. Infinity Edge, Kraken Slayer, and the Rapid Fire Cannon. Reckless still waiting for the Ginsus. Has a Rage Knife in his inventory. Adam as well. This guy, a rookie. 4-1-6 against Wonder, against G2. He is having a stellar performance so far. He continues to be the front line that FNATIC needs, showing us that he is not just, the carry player, the Olaf, the Darius. He's also someone that can flex his style for his team's requirements. And now he is by himself in a side lane as G2 lose another 2 towers, but continue to hold on to their base.
Look at the damage that G2 now have. Infinity Edge completed for Caps. Reckless completing the Rage Blade. The question is it going to be enough to melt through the front line? The FNATIC have level 16 on Adam. Hylissang has the Abyssal Mask, giving that extra bit of damage. Jankos
jumps away. Oh,
messes up the combo there. He even had Flash, and Upset did not. Big blunder there from Jankos. Really think that could have been a massive pick for him and G2.
It's a Pixels thing though, right? Like, because the jump had already happened. The Moonfall was just at the edge of pulling him out of it. It wasn't even like Upset buffered the jump afterwards, just Jankos not quite connecting on it, Vedi. And this game is it's giving me that feeling that you get when you watch FNATIC G2 games. That feeling when, remember summer 2019 in Athens with all the crowd behind you? Remember Rekkles and Hylissang backdooring on Rakan and Lucian? Remember all the times we've seen these two titans, these Goliaths face off against each other? It's giving me that feeling once again. 2,000 gold between the two of them. It feels like it's on a knife edge. And once again, it's pixel perfect precision there from Hylissang, steps away from the hook.
Wow. Right now, though, it feels like FNATIC is quite firmly in control. Their gold lead is about 2.5k. Their front line is incredibly strong. Adam is an absolute titan. And Bwipo, even though he has 6 deaths, he has a bounty on his head. He is working towards the death cap. I'm just going to have a quick look how far away is. He's quite far away from me. Yeah. He's quite far away.
It's about 2,000 gold.
So G2 don't have to be too worried about that. But when he gets it, they definitely have to be worried. For now, FNATIC have just been setting up vision around the bot side of the map. Very deep vision so they can control the Drake.
A Cloud Drake with this, Cloud Soul with this team is pretty strong as well.
It is very strong. A lot of high-value ultimates here. But this vision is very good from FNATIC. G2 trying to make a cross-map play where they set up vision around the top side river. Hylissang going to get a little bit of information. Face check that with Adam. They just don't care, as they shouldn't, because they're not going to get one-shots. They want you to engage on them. Nisqy there right behind him, level 16 now on the Aurelia. Come back into this game very nicely. Was a little bit behind early on. 0-2-0 was his scoreline, but now 2-3-3. Actually a higher level than that of Caps.
Upset's just got himself a Guardian Angel as well, Vedi.
Oh.
Makes it even trickier for G2 to isolate him, because we've seen a couple of the fights that have been close, or G2 have managed to come out of winning. They've killed Upset off right at the start. Now, you kill Upset, he's coming back. You kill Bwipo, he'll stay around for a good 5-10 seconds to put down more DPS, and really the question is, can G2 find FNATIC? Caps on the front line? Here's the TP from Adam. Hylissang straight onto Caps. Caps is gone, somehow surviving for the moment, but Hylissang almost down as well. The Requiem coming out. It's cancelled. Bwipo on the front line. Rekkles, you got to open up. You got to do the main things right now. He's looking for Nisqy. There's a couple of kills. 3 against 3 once again. Rekkles flashing forward. Rekkles dies! Flashbacks to double lift. You can't do that on a Vayne, Rekkles. No matter what you do, FNATIC will find you. Rekkles dies. Caps dies. Jankos dies. Mickey dies. G2 dies. FNATIC strike.
And with this amount of HP, with Adam on the front line with a wave, FNATIC could just very well end the game right here, right now. He doesn't care about these towers. Upset is still alive. Can Wonder save the game?
He pops his stopwatch, but his Nexus towers will go pop. Not much that Wonder can do in this situation. FNATIC claim a 2-0 versus